Great news, everybody. Great news. Frank Miller is launching his own comic book, and he's going to be showing us Sin City and Ronin. I'm here with my boy Petey. What's rocking, Petey? Say what's up, baby.
What's up, everybody?
So what do you think of this news that he's launching his own comic with, of course, the legendary DC publisher himself, Dan Didio. And they're going to be dropping comics starting at what? I think next year. What's your take on that, my friend?
I mean, I've been waiting for Frank Miller to do some other stuff. I know he's had some struggles, but it seems like now he'll be taking the helm of either doing covers, some art, and working with other talent on some of his babies, like Sin City, like Ronin. We'll get Ronin book 2. We're getting Sin City. He talked about it in the interview. And I don't think it was Sci-Fi Wire, but he went to a comic store. He said he wanted to do a Sin City Western. So we're finally going to get that. And I've only seen one of Dan Didio's projects, which is Ancient Heroes or Ancient Warriors, something like that. We'll get to see that in a second. But that and Pandora, which I think is kind of something based on something they'd already done, but they're probably going to do something different for this. Or maybe it was a deal they worked out with DC when he left. So, I mean, ultimately with more Sin City, more Ronin, and maybe this is because, I mean, as much as we can say, because ultimately, where's I got? Do I have that here? Do I have it here? Yes. We got a ton of these Sin City books, right? I got these Sin City things here. I got Ronin, but that's too big to pull out for right now. But at the same time, Frank Miller has done Cursed. He did the illustrated novel where he worked on that with the writer, that which of course went right to TV, and Ronin, which people have had iffy things, and of course Ronin helped lead to the spoof on Frank Miller, which we know as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But even if you have that, you have Samurai Jack, which was just taking the dynamic of this samurai going to the future and fighting all these elements. Now to do a story where we explore more elements of that future and possibly knowing we're not sure who the artist is going to be, if Frank Miller's doing it all himself. But I mean, at this stage, for the older guys, they don't want to, Frank Miller hasn't been doing regular work. So I don't imagine he's going to be putting out, doing 30, doing a massive thing, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see some art. So I can't wait for this thing to start.
I mean, I agree, but I mean, the very fact we're going to have new stories based on Sin City, Ronin, and at least hopefully they will be done in the style that was done previously, as well as in the stories will be in either new worlds or the same settings. I mean, the same settings are great, but expanding those universes will be something. But do you think that'll be something that's something that can hold a new comic book company, just basically having 2 or 3 different titles? I mean, what's your take on that?
In my mind, I kind of think they should have done the dual thing of the Kickstarter approach, get the interest in there, and maybe they will do that.
I think they are. I think that one of the things that Didio is going out with is I think it's I think they said that they're selling non-fungible tokens. I'll shoot it to you right now, which is it's pretty interesting, a way to fund some of the stuff. But
okay, hold on. Here we got. I think but it's hard because these Bleeding Cool sites are just so spammed out. It's kind of hard to play this down. But all right, just tell to me about it.
Well, I mean, at least one of the I just shot it to you. One of the projects by Dan Didio is going to be something called Ancient Enemies, and they're according to Bleeding Cool, they're saying that it's going to be NFT based funding of the publisher. So it's going to be a non-fungible token that they're going to be using to fund, I guess, the project or projects basically for Frank Miller Presents.
Look at this art, though. Look at this. If this is any way of what they're able to do in the comic book format, like this, they got a winner here.
Right. but who's? I don't think it's going to be the person doing that. Would be Danilo Bayruth.
Yeah, this is the art.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks really
And
good.
some of it has like a Fantastic Four feel.
Yeah, it does. I noticed that too. Like the Iron Man specs also. So it looks very interesting. Very, very interesting. So I mean, hey, I'm all for it. Again, it's just that now a lot of characters you see. What is that? They have Image has definitely been doing much better. It looks like from the sales of their comics, the pouch that they've been putting out. You have uh, Boom has done some pretty interesting work, especially with TV shows that exist and some of their stuff like from Dune and some other stuff there. And then you also have Dark Horses doing their stuff. So the question I'm just saying is that how much more space is there for an indie to come out? I think you just pointed out that hey, going through the route of self-publishing using something like Indiegogo makes a lot of sense. And hey, that's a thought I didn't even think of. You know, very very good point, bro.
Well, I'm just thinking that why kill yourself trying to, well, why kill yourself trying to make sure there's an audience out there?
Right.
Put some books out, or at least put some campaigns out. And like most of the time, people are saying, well, we got a dual thing where our comic company will be putting out this, but we want to make sure there's interest, and we'll be delivering some books directly that way, and we'll be delivering it to you through the later on going to the bookshelf, so it also go to the bookshelves afterwards. And then since Miller's stuff is well, because Miller has a character, there's some sort of geek character that's going to be in this Ancient Enemies. So we have this damn, it's Bleeding Cool is just a really tough site to go to for this stuff. But it looks like they got 4 titles. I mean, only thing keep in mind of putting them out, not doing the new universe where you publish them all at once. Just slowly start to bring them out. Don't try to kill yourself as a trying to become a comic book company or trying to become Valiant or Image, because all of them sort of worked on one title, one title, one title, and it seems
Also,
like
you definitely think that's the way to go then.
yeah. I think that why like the way the comic industry is, we're interested in seeing people fail, and I think that taking that out of the comic threads saying nobody purchased Sin City because Frank Miller's not drawing it, and that any sort of thing that they can spin it, just go to the audience and find them, because you have the thing, or turn it into a let's trash Didio type of thing.
Yeah.
Didio did all the bad stuff, and then it's like, well, you're an independent publisher. The audience is now moving. This is not saying you don't have to be like I'm with Comicsgate or this, that, and the other. I'm just trying to find my audience in the depressed market. And then saying after we find who the audience is, we might just keep marketing this to them, and then we'll get to the bookshelves and get to the audience that way, because Frank Miller is a name that I mean ultimately, well, no, I didn't even know he finished Martha Washington, but I think that the way having Frank Miller, a lot of his stuff has gone to the movies and coming up with new characters that he'll have some connection to. Let's the Hollywood will kind of lean over and say, well, what's in Frank Miller's wheelhouse right now? What's going on with Ronin 2? Because they haven't really done a full-on Ronin movie, and it's like has some elements of stuff that you could do that would be visually crazy to see. It has such a great open starting in the samurai age, and then next going into the future, and like only Samurai Jack has taken that, but that was animation. You still could do that stuff, and you don't have to end it with him finding out a lot of stuff was in his head. Like Samurai Jack, you keep the story going, find the next story. So yeah, I'm pretty jazzed about this. I've been waiting to see more Frank Miller stuff. The stuff that he did last, the Dark Knight, the Golden Child, DK3 wasn't necessarily my cup of tea, but at the same time, this was a sequel to The Dark Knight that people would have gotten behind because it had some elements of Silver Age. It had some elements of the first Dark Knight. It was done in a way that was kind of, but all the good graces were taken away because of Dark Knight Strikes Again. So I think that Frank Miller has, I'm saying I'm bringing up that as successes in his market, right? He's done the DK3 was well enough when it started to lag behind as far as nobody had any care that it was behind schedule because it already made its money. It already made a ton of money, and it made so much money. He had like 2 books after that. He had The Last Crusade. He had then The Golden Child after that. So I think it was a success for him, even though he's gotten people go to a lot of the negative stuff or someone not wanting to go to a con because Frank Miller tweet that they disagreed with, that sort of thing. Frank Miller is a top name, and as long as he's here, I'm glad that he's some way involved in this thing. I'm hoping that he's involved with a lot of this, if not just drawing, plotting, writing. He already showed you that he can do he can do writing full time. So we can any kind of thing that one of my favorite creators that is still doing work. I want to see what's going to happen. So.
Okay. I mean, I agree. I think it's going to be very interesting when you take a look at the fact that, I mean, again, I like your approach where you're saying go through the funding, the crowdfunding model, and you have the whole thing with Berserker, I think it is, with Keanu Reeves.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
for me, I think I just shot you a link there where they put up a whole bunch of stuff. He sold like I think 1.4 million or something like that. The first issue that was they did the fundraise, the crowdfunding, then they did the Boom Studio. Is it Boom? I think they did
Yep. Boom Studios.
did the actual comic, and that they said the first issue sold 600,000 copies, which is like wow, that's huge for an indie. And then I think Frank Miller can hit something that pretty high with some of the story from Ronin or definitely from Ronin, possibly from Sin City, depending on how he sets it up. I mean, look at the Image guys with McFarlane with Spawn. Spawn did like a tremendous
Oh, you
amount.
talking about the Spawn action figure?
No, I'm
Green.
talking about the Spawn. He redid the whole Spawn universe where you had Spawn, the gunslinger. Then they had like
Well,
versions of Spawns. But when you combine all of those new Spawns coming out, he sold extremely well. Um, I'm just saying that there is a market for characters that people want to see and stories that people want to see again, going through independent publishers.
yeah.
Uh, I also just wanted to make a quick point that Brandon Sanderson, who's an established artist, decided to try using the Kickstarter method also. And that dude, who has several sci-fi books out, the Mistborn series, Stormlight Archives. He also has he also finished the Wheel of Time, and he made $41 million pledged to him off of 4 secret books that he wrote throughout the pandemic. And you're
Mm-hmm.
like, what the heck? And he has a publisher. And now he did this on his own, 4 separate, completely different books. And you're like, this dude, if someone like the name of Frank Miller, probably he could do the exact same thing. If 1.4 million for someone like Keanu Reeves, someone like Frank Miller, who has an established character, a new Ronin, like you just said, can really blow that thing up.
Mm-hmm.
Great idea, Pete. Once again, I think you did a great. You come up with some great things.
Whatever. Now you're trying to act like you get out of here with that. Now you're trying to act like you agree with me on something.
I did agree with you. What the heck do you want me to do? You want me to bow down? Oh my,
Wow.
amazing, huh? The numbers are just there. There are people who want to see these things, and you know, I mean, look at the Killing Joke. Well, that's more distant with DC, but stories it keeps coming back again and again and again and again. You always see those stories sell again and again. So if there's a good story there, people are going to come back to it, and a great
Yeah.
artist and writer, you know.
Well, I mean, he's been a name for a while, and the thing is that he still garners a lot of interest in at the con. So let's see what happens.
Yeah.
More power to him.
Yes. Spin rack. Oh, and
Out.
Didio. Big up with Didio also.
Video bouncing back. Later. Spinner out.